Good morning, everyone. I'm just so glad that we have our journey with Bodhi and all of the wonderful musicians he brings. So I'm Reverend Karyl Huntley, for those of you who I have not met. And you are here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, where our vision is awakening personal transformation. So that's what all y'all are up for, whether you know it or not. And our mission, how we accomplish that, is teaching tools for positive change. So that is our mission and our vision, and we make decisions based on that. Our yearly theme is right up here, Your Joyous Life. And the talk today is about the journey. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to draw your attention, first of all, to Marcia Dawson's beautiful altar. Now, you know, what I do usually with the wonderful people who do the altar is that along in the middle or end of the week, I say what the theme is, and then I just let them go for it, you know. So I want to draw your attention to a couple of things here that are so beautiful. This particular pose of Kuan Yin, she's not in repose, she's rising. We imagine that she was meditating, like this Buddha here, and in her meditation, she got something that someone needs her help. Someone on their journey needs her help, and so she is rising here from meditation. It is just the most beautiful pose of Kuan Yin, so thank you so much. And that's what we can expect from all of the deities, archetypes, the eternal presence, however we personalize that, all of it is rising to our aid in any particular moment. So, gosh, if that's all you got this morning, you got it. This is fabulous. So thank you, Marcia. Our theme for April is We Are All One. So for those of you who are doing this book study is about how to increase your happiness over this year, and it's divided into 12 months, of course. And this month I had to do a little adjusting because it's about parenthood. And the author has 2 young children, and so a lot of what she talks about in this chapter is about her relationship with her children and how she personally can figure out how to make her own life happier in the midst of raising 2 children in New York City. So I know that that's not all of our, probably not most of our journey right now is raising small children. So I wanted to kind of expand the theme. So I went from parenthood to family to universal family to We Are All One. So that's how we got here to the theme for April is We Are All One. Okay, you with me on that? That's very good. And our goal for the month is to lighten up. Isn't that? These are spinner dolphins, aren't they? That's what we're about. So that's very good for this time of year because the energy is rising as we come into summer. And it's really good to remember in treating all of our kin, whether it's our children, our immediate family, or our bigger family, that everyone appreciates lightening up a little bit. And I want to review the goals because we have a goal for each month that is cumulative. So by December, you're going to be very, very busy. So it's good to keep in practice on all of them. So January was Boost Our Energy, and February was Remember Love. We all did that. And we're very good at that, actually, remembering love. And Aim Higher was in March. And so now this month is Lightening Up. And we continue with all aspects of this teaching, this teaching that's kind of within our Science of Mind teaching, because the journey really is a spiral, and we, as we clarify our consciousness and make clear choices, we just go right up this spiral of joy. So the title today is, It's All About the Process. And I will read a little bit. I'm sure that we can all relate, if not in our immediate life, in some past experience. So this is a little story about planning a birthday party for her child and how into it this little girl is. Mom, she asked a few days later, can we go back to Baskin Robbins to look at the cake book again? Eliza, we spent an hour in there already, plus your birthday is still a month away, but I want to look at the book. Before the Happiness Project, I would have resisted, but now I understand that this errand isn't birthday party efficiency, but the very fun itself. It's my 6th commandment, enjoy the process. Eliza will enjoy eating the cake for only 5 minutes, but she can have hours of enjoyment from planning the cake. In fact, it's what's known as rosy prospection. Anticipation of happiness is sometimes greater than the happiness actually experienced. All the more reason to revel in anticipation. So don't you get that sometimes, that like thinking about a trip that you're going to take is just, it's so fun, it's so great that that we want to lean into that, you know, and not think, you know, I got to just focus on whatever, you know, you need to focus on besides happiness and joy. I don't know what it is. So I want to do a small recap on last week. How many of you were here last week? All right, for those of you that weren't here last week, this was a culminate. It was my 20th anniversary of being your minister, of us being together is really what it is, 20 years. And I'm so, so grateful for last Sunday. And so I want to just say a few words of thank you and to explain to the rest of you that it was a hijacking. It was, really, the service was hijacked. I think Scott and Lori and Mary were the biggest ones, but I mean, everybody was in on it. And so just to tell you the level of deception, this here is the order of service. It goes on for 3 pages. It's got every single click of the mouse, and it's numbered. We have like, we have over 80 images up here today for you. Mary does this, and there were 2 of them last week. The one that I saw, that I thought we were going to do, and then the real one that happened. There were 2 complete PowerPoint presentations. The one that I planned with Mary, that I thought I was going to do, and that one was thrown out, and then the one that was about the celebration was the real PowerPoint presentation. And so we had recorded greetings from people. We had live people stand up and say how happy they have been for all these years. And the DVD of the entire service is available to you if you would like it. And I just want to say that I did not know this was happening. I didn't know that was happening. In fact, I was continually surprised the whole morning. And bless her heart, Mary, I was sitting there, she could see that I was looking at my watch and trying to think how much of my talk could I get in. Because I didn't know how long these accolades were going to take. And maybe I can do half of the talk. What can I cut? And so Mary saw me doing this, and she stood up and she said, honey, you're not going to give the talk today. Relax. Just enjoy the process. So I want to say that some people were concerned, if it was you, because the John Waterhouse recording, where he said, John Waterhouse is the president of the whole entire movement worldwide. And so he sent this lovely videoed message about congratulations on my 20 years. And he sent it to me. And so when I told people, I think that there was a great big buzz, like, oh my God, she knows. Well, the thing about John Waterhouse is that he sends out messages of congratulation and good wishes, and he sends out little notes that say, I'm praying for you in your center this week. What would you like me to pray for? All the time. So I actually thought, this man is so on top of the field. He knows every single minister's schedule. I am so amazed at this. So it did not get in there, you know. So I want to reflect back to you and for you and for the rest of your life how good a surprise is. Because a surprise presupposes a lot of things. It presupposes that you love the one that you're surprising, and that you know them very, very well, and that you know what would delight them, and you know their schedule so that they're not, you can kind of work around that so they're not liable to find out the surprise. And then to realize that you all knew. Because Mary did the talk 2 weeks ago. You all knew. And nobody said anything to me. Nobody, and you know, sometimes there are people who, you know, I don't know, want to be important or something, and they'll, like, accidentally on purpose drop something. Not one of you did that. And so I just wanted to share that it's the most loving thing that has happened to me in I can't tell you how long. And so this is one of the things you gave me. Is this not just absolutely fabulous? Just fabulous. And the talk that I was going to give was a lot about this book called Prayers of the Cosmos, which I really, really love, and we bought 10 copies of it. So it's in the bookstore. I promise you'll like it. So that's what I was going to talk about. And so I just want to express my eternal gratitude. I've been flying high all week and will continue to do so for many, many weeks to come. But right now, we are entering the second 20 years together. So this is pretty fabulous, second 20 years. And so what I want to talk about here is that life is a journey, not a destination. So we're not looking at what's going to happen 20 years from now. We're looking at what's so fabulous that we're going to do now and next and next and next and next. So you've heard this before, I'm sure, that life is a journey, not a destination. And so I actually, I Googled that, and there's lots and lots of quotes from a bajillion people that say life is a journey, not a destination, and then love is a journey, not a destination. And all of you in love probably know that it's not what's going to happen in 20 years, it's what's happening right now and the next moment, the next moment. Another one is success is a journey, not a destination. And that makes sense too, you know, if you work all your life for what, retirement? It's just not quite as delicious as enjoying everything along the way. And then there's another one, happiness. Am I on happiness now? Happiness is a journey, not a destination. And so that's absolutely true. You can't postpone happiness for some end goal. And then that's not all. Reformation, I guess this is a political thing, but you know, that the change in the system is a process. It's a journey, not a destination. And then another one is education is a journey, not a destination. And so you kind of think that you could put anything in that first slot. Anything is a journey, not a destination. And it's a really true statement because it makes sense, actually, not to focus on the end goal, but to enjoy getting there. But also, when you look at life, everything is always moving. It's like we are in a river of life moving forward, or it's like we're on a moving sidewalk or something, but we're moving, things are moving by, it's always, the time is marching forward. And so it's one of those things that we get when we come to Earth. I think we all can conceive of what happened in the past. We all can conceive of this present moment. We can all conceive of the future, and we have this feeling that we're moving from the past into the future. And so this is, we kind of imagine, is particular to Earth. If we showed up on any other planet, the whole timeline would be different because the rotation and the revolution of the planet around their sun and all of that stuff would be different. And so our 24-hour day and our 365-day year is absolutely unique to this time and this place. We imagine that eternity, where we came from and where we return to, is more or less kind of changeless, but I'm not even sure of that anymore. That nothing stands still. And the movement of time affects everything. It affects our growth from baby to adulthood. It affects our aging. It affects our developing and learning. It affects bread rising. You know, it's something that we kind of see through because it's so there, we don't focus on it. But I want to focus on it today because it's very, very important, in this lesson at least, that we look at the journey and love the journey instead of getting stuck. Because the spiritual lesson here is to get out of stuckness. So if you are stuck, then leaning into this truth about the movement of life is going to get you unstuck, and then you're going to get to enjoy things a lot more. If you are focused in the past, like some things that focus us in the past are regret or unforgiveness. Something happened. In fact, one of the greatest definitions of forgiveness that I know is giving up any hope of a better past. Think about that. Because if you're in resentment and unforgiveness, you are ruminating over something that happened in the past, and guess what? You can't change that. So getting over that is getting unstuck, and then we can get stuck in the future, with uneasiness or projection or worry or something like that, and that's not productive, and it doesn't lead to joy in this life. In fact, I believe that any significant pain that we have to heal means that we got stuck someplace. Something happened to us that ripped us open, and somehow to protect that place, we just don't move from it. We kind of put this protective awareness around that event and around us, and then we don't move forward. And that is, it's so sad, because there's all these things that are happening day by day, moment by moment, that are so fabulous. So this is about benefits of the moving journey. Okay, you ready with me here? Okay. When I was in college, I took a lot of classes about language, the structure of language, and I took language in English, I took language in fine arts, I took language in anthropology, just because I loved it so much. And there's a very interesting phenomenon about Native American languages. A lot of Native American languages, they don't have a lot of nouns. When our babies are born, they learn things first. They learn cup, mama, book. They learn the names of things. But there aren't names of things in a lot of Native American languages, because all of the language is a verb form, which is also very interesting because these verb forms are kind of like in the present tense. There's not a past tense in a lot of Indian languages. That's why if you are old enough to remember the old cowboy shows, and the Indians would say many moons ago, that is kind of the way that they would frame it, because they don't have a word for yesterday. But they could see, the changing of the stages of the moon. But anyway, it makes so much sense for what we're talking about, because life is a happening thing. And so what Bodhi does is not music, it would be musicking. He does that. And this here is not our center, it is centering, which is a very interesting word in itself. So it's the idea of not focusing on things, but focusing on movement is what we're doing. And when we do this, it encourages constant appreciation. Because as we know, the days and the hours and the moments are going by, and there's something to be grateful for in every moment. So here's proof. Think of something you're grateful for. Okay? There it is, right now. You can be grateful for that. And then think of another thing you're grateful for. Yeah, okay. So that was that moment's gratefulness. So what happens is that you can establish a gratitude practice where, and this gratitude practice can take any form at all. You can program your phone to beep like every hour, and you can say, what am I grateful for now? And then have that as your practice. Or you can have a gratitude practice when you go to bed and think, well, these are the things I was grateful for today. Or you could have a gratitude practice at dinner time with your family and have everybody share what they're grateful for. But what happens is that when you focus on the movement of time, it encourages you to be appreciative of the moments as they pass. And we'll get to that in a couple more down the line here. Secondly, the benefits of the moving journey is that it puts things into perspective. With your gratitude practice, little annoyances can be just that. They can be little annoyances that you let go of because the next beep on your phone is going to happen and you're going to think about what you're grateful for, and that means you've already let go of those little annoyances. So it encourages you, when you think about the passage of time, when you pay attention, it encourages you to weigh the blessings heavy and to weigh the annoyances lightly. That's what you want to do for a joyful life, just that much. Third, it helps us let go. So if you think about it, on this earthly journey, there are things that are either taken from us as time goes, or we choose to let them go. And it is much happier for our heart if we choose to let them go. For example, my children's childhood is over. And if I have done the first two things, if I have appreciated every single moment as it came and went, and if I put things into perspective and weigh the blessings heavy and the annoyances lightly, then it is easier for me to let go of the things that are already passing because I have other things to replace them in the present. Do you see what I mean? So if you have done the first two things, it's easier to let things go. And as we do that, we fill up today, and that's what makes a joyful life. Then it assists us to change. When we are moving, it is easier to change direction. And I have a quote here that really says it all. This is from Chris Batchy, who used to be like the head honcho at IONS. And he writes, "The system's sensitivity is increasing as the system moves into unstable, non-equilibrium conditions. The more free-floating energy there is in the system available to be catalyzed into new forms. We do not have to be able to see at the outset how our seemingly private decisions will impact the systems we are a part of or how they will make a difference, but we trust that they will. Every time one of us acts with this kind of courage and clarity for the collective good, the transformation of humanity gains momentum." So a couple of analogies might help you to see this. Imagine that you have a huge ship that has to turn around. Do you suppose that it would be easier for the ship to turn around if it's already moving in some direction? So you can just move it around to go in the other direction rather than it's stock still and it has to be turned around. If it is stock still and has to be turned around, you have to get it going in some direction in order to be able to turn it around. And here's another example. An exercise program, and I know this from experience, is much easier to keep up with if you keep up with it. It is so much harder to start and restart and restart and restart. So if you have that feeling that you are in momentum in your life, rather than stuck, if you are moving, flowing, doing, if you have a path or several paths that you are contributing in, then for you to say, what else might be nice, or what different might be nice? It's much easier for you to take the energy that is already moving forward and simply redirect it. I know you know this. That's why some people, it's easier to wake up in the morning, and for other people it's harder to wake up in the morning, because if you don't know what you're going to do, you don't know which direction you're going to go, it's like, oh, I'll just stay in bed. But if you know what direction you're moving in, it's easier to get up and then to change directions if you want to. Is this making sense to you? Okay, very good. So the other thing that quote talked about is that as we make our own decisions about moving forward, we affect the world. So if we do the appreciation practice, if we do the letting go practice, and if we do that happily and joyfully, and other people see us doing it, we become models of healthy spiritual and emotional living, and that's what helps everyone else go in the same direction or do the same thing and get unstuck and forgive and let go and maximize the important things and minimize the annoyances and all those things we've already talked about. If we're doing that and actively making choices day by day by day by day to do that, then other people look at us and go, well, you know, maybe they got something going there. Maybe I'll come to the Golden Gate Center and see what's what. So lastly, the benefits of being on the moving journey shows us that there's never an end. And so this actually is a little small piece of my Easter talk that I am going to give today. It actually is the message of Easter, that there's never an end. That even death isn't an end. And so if death is not an end, there's never an end at all. It's just a continuous movement forward, forward, forward. So the story I want to tell you about this is not really an Easter story, and yet it is an Easter story. The day that Mary spoke 2 weeks ago today, I was in Boston, and I was seeing an opera that my son was conducting. And the opera was Rinaldo. It's not a very well-known opera. It's by Handel. It was written in the 17th century. It used all Baroque instruments, and then Michael played the harpsichord, that kind of sprightly music. And Rinaldo, the character of Rinaldo was a warrior. And so this was written in the 17th century, but it was really about the Crusades of about 1,000 years ago. And in the story, there were two armies, the good army that Rinaldo was in, and the bad army, which were the Muslims. And there was a lot of reference in this opera about Christianity and the Muslims. And at the end, of course, as in most operas, if they're not a tragedy, if people die in comedies and tragedies, it's so amazing. But the bad army all died. So the Boston Opera Collaborative, which I think is so brilliant, took this amazing piece of music, and it is amazing. And they cut out every single religious reference. They cut out every single Muslim reference. They cut out every single Christian reference. You still had the good army and the bad army, but still it wasn't quite so black and white because, of course, they all fell in love with the wrong people. They kind of crossed lines and went and flirted with the enemy, so to speak. Still, however, in the end, everybody died except Rinaldo and the girlfriend. And so the stage was littered with bodies. And just to imagine singing and dying at the same time, so many of them, it was amazing. So many people just running into each other and, with the swords and then lying down and dead. Then it was like the two leads, Rinaldo and his girlfriend, just said, well, that was fun. And they went and raised up the bad guy and hugged him. And then they started raising up everybody else. And then all of it, and they sang this aria that was from another complete place in the opera. They mixed and matched it. And this aria was about, we all have victory because of our virtue. And so everybody was raised up, and everybody sang the same song. And it really was like, we were all just kidding. Nobody's dead. We're all alive, and we're all so happy. And that's exactly the Easter message. Just kidding. He's not dead. And because he's not dead, none of us will ever die. And so, being on the journey and not staying stuck in death, lying on the stage after your aria, is the journey of joy, of rising up and knowing there is never an end. There is never an end. I'm glad I got that out. So, in conclusion here, what helps us move? Don't you love this? Take what you need, and some people have already taken stuff, but there's love up there still. We can all take love. So what helps us move? First of all, it's faith. But more than faith, it's really this bundle that goes together with faith and courage and experience. When we go through changes and we come out victorious, then we have more faith for the next one. And the journey sometimes can get scary, right? There's pretend villains out there, yeah, definitely. But the more we go through with faith and courage and experience, then we can let go, forgive, change, grow, and step off the cliff and know that we're going to either touch down lightly or we're going to be taught how to fly. You know, on my vision board for this year, I have a picture of the Fool in the tarot walking off the cliff, and I've got him on the lower right-hand side of my vision board. So it looks like he's just walking right off my vision board and into whatever, the next adventure. And so I encourage you to mark your successes so that the next one can be easier. And then, of course, gratitude, being thankful, open, non-grasping, flexible. A happy heart makes the journey so much easier. And then lastly, love, which is the universal healer, accomplisher, builder, and mover. We can't do anything without it. And so as this first talk comes to a conclusion of the first talk of the next 20 years, I just want us all to maybe promise to each other that we're going to love each other even better. I mean, we love each other really, really well. And that was the major experience that I had last week, and the major comment that I heard. You know, this community loves each other so well, and I'm ready to have that be the new ground and rise up even better. So are you with me? Great. Good. So for those of you who say, well, I'd like to take this a little bit deeper. We got the going deeper for you, and this is the going deeper. And that is that your mantra be, this too shall pass. It really helps you not get sticky with anything. The joys pass, the sorrows pass, it all passes. And we get to experience the next thing. It doesn't pass and there's nothing left. It passes so the next thing can come. So that is the going deeper. So in the inner work, we've got a wonderful song. And so if you want to sing with Bodhi and I, the words are going to be up on the screen in a minute. And I'll let Mary do the clicking so I can pray with my eyes closed. And so if you want to sing along with this, just open your eyes just a little tiny bit so you can still stay in that prayer place. And join me now in the inner work. So, this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey of life. And as we consciously make choices from the heart of God, which is in the center of our own heart, as we make choices of forgiveness, and we make choices of positive movement, we make choices to let go and embrace, because that's what it is. We let go and embrace, and what we've embraced, we let go and we embrace the next thing. We let go and embrace, we let go and embrace. But we let go forever of fear, worry, and regret. And as we let go of fear, worry, and regret, there is less in the world. And as we forgive and let go, there is more flow in the world. And as there is more flow in the world, there is more room for love. For love is a moving thing. more love in the world, more gratitude, more love for us, more love for everyone else. So we begin with this beautiful song by Michael Gott. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a time that begins with you and me. It's a time that begins with you and me. Peace will never come to this world unless you and I step into it first. Peace, like love, is a flowing thing. And as we make choice after choice for love and peace, that area around us becomes heavenly, and other people step into it. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move the world to peace. Come love the world with me. Blessed be.